Hi people, we're here today with an Ukrainian soldier named Husky, call sign Husky, and we are here to ask him some questions on the current situation in Ukraine and about life as an Ukrainian soldier, because like the situation in Ukraine is still ongoing, it's still rough, and people need your support. So we want to share about the situation, and we will share some donation links in the end and during the video. And I would ask you to please consider to donate so we can help the people over there. Okay, so yeah, Husky,
Welcome.
well, nice to see you again, man.
Nice to be here.
It was a long time. We are currently in Germany, middle of Germany. And we got to know each other through a help project and association which we are still members of, which engages in refugee aid. And this leads me to my first question to you, Husky. Like, what was your life before the war? Like, what did you do before the full-scale invasion, and what was your profession?
Right before the war, I was still a student. I was finishing my master's studies, which had emphasis on economic and political topics. Had some jobs at the site, 3-4 different jobs, which I was doing at the same time. And so it was more or less a classic student lifestyle. With the war, everything changed very drastically, I guess. So yeah.
And how did it come that you, like, as far as I know, you decided to join the military, and you are already there now for quite some time. So I think it's very interesting because I think most of the people cannot imagine themselves like going from a more or less like casual student's lifestyle to join the military in a foreign country and fight for the people or for some case there. So what motivated you to join the military?
I mean, I already had like a close proximity to the front line once I started doing humanitarian aid in 2022. So for the first 1.5 years, I was trying to help the civilian population, bringing them goods, bringing them direly needed medical material, evacuating them from frontline villages. And after a while, I thought I should probably continue helping where the need is the most dire. And unfortunately, that is the case with the soldiers. Like, that's where the suffering is the highest. So that's why I decided to join the army and become a medic, to be able to help those soldiers in times of the greatest need.
Yeah. I also think you cannot really make, I don't know if that's the same what you think, but you cannot really make like this sharp distinction between like, okay, this is now civilian aid and this is another form of aid because, or like military aid, because in the end, like it's people, whether they're civilian people or whether they're military people, it's people and they die at the front line and in the war. So if you can save one of their lives, then it's always a good deed, and I feel that in my heart. So I don't really think like you should decide so much or make this distinction so big, like whether it's like the military who you help or whether it's civilian people. How do you experience like the war right now? So what does a typical day look to you, if you can share that with us maybe?
Uh, how I experience war right now is first and foremost in terms of drone warfare. That is the biggest thing since 1.5 years. Drones have just become omnipresent everywhere, and they kind of control everything we do. Currently, I spent a lot of time on the training grounds, like teaching some guys, which is also a bit difficult because like we already also getting drones on the training ground. We get drones on the way to the training ground and from the training ground. Given that before the drones, like 1.5 years ago, like when the enemy was advancing, it was kind of slowly, and then you would feel it after a while. Nowadays, with the drones, given that it can even like hit us 20 kilometers after the front line, even further, they're able to advance much more quicker that way, because they already have like their drones doing the dirty work for them. So basically, once again, I'm spent like almost every day right now since the last few weeks on the training grounds, and trying to we go with the punches, so to speak, and try to improvise a lot.
And giving what you just said about the training, like what kind of training is it that you received, and what kind of training are you giving, like behind the front line?
In short, TCCC, which is Tactical Combat Casualty Care. So tactical medicine, things you need to do once somebody was affected by combat and got like a combat injury, and what to do with that. That's the training I received, and that's what I try to pass on, given the experience.
So that's what you guys like lead the tourniquet for, yeah, right? Which is like all over the news, or wait, let's say like until now you have to say like was, because like as I see it, like there's not so much news anymore about the situation in Ukraine right now, in Germany at least, and about the current state of affairs at the front line there. But people are still dying there, and people are still, as you just heard, in dire need of medical equipment, of tourniquets, and of other kinds of equipment which they can then use there. So the situation really is still ongoing, and what I wonder is like, because like as far as I know, you still have a family like living in Germany here, yeah? And how do you stay in touch with family, and how do you stay in touch with loved ones while serving? Because like okay, your body survives, and especially if you get good care, like let's say like your medical care, for example, then you still have your mind, which I think will go nuts after a while of this, like as you just referred to, like the drones like zerring everywhere, which I can imagine very well, and then the artillery shots like going on everywhere, like near your location, and then you see all of the like the bad injuries every day and so on, and maybe even people in close to you, and you just got to know like they die, and how can you stay sane in such a situation? Because over here in Germany, like if we talk like about what people bothers over here, mostly they cannot get up in the morning because they are fucked up because of their work, or they're like depressed, or they're like things like that. I think you know all of that as well. If you lead a student life, there might be at least in your perception such big obstacles to your well-being, and then you change to the warfare zone, and I think some of this becomes like, or as far as I like can imagine, does it change, like, and how does it affect you? So yeah, like how are you going to deal with all of these
So the first question, how do I keep up with my friends and relatives and loved ones? I try to, but it's not working very well, because I feel like I'm in my own little world there, and everything outside kind of starts to feels like unreal. Feels like it doesn't really exist, because like it feels like the whole universe consists of war after a while, like by just being in war all the time. So I'm having trouble with that, keeping contact. The second question, how do I manage to stay sane? I don't know, honestly. Like, I also don't have.
Are you saying?
I guess I'm like just starting to slowly drift into insanity, because it's just a lot of repressed memories and repressed things, which I'll have to work on through therapy and so on. So that's something I will deal with a little bit later, once the situation is a little bit better. And regarding your third question, which was which one again? Like the last thing you asked me.
The last thing I asked you was like how do you get along with all of this?
I definitely feel the difference, like by coming back to this civilian life or whatever. I mean, right now I'm just like on a holiday, but I definitely feel that things which would have greatly triggered me emotionally and mentally like 2 years ago, nowadays I don't really care about them anymore. So I definitely feel some changes. Unfortunately, like not caring about things doesn't mean that these things are not important. You know, like in civilian society, there are still things which you might like or might not like, but you still have to do them. But if you start treating them in a way where you just don't care about them because you've been confronted with problems which are much worse, that creates problems for civilian life. You know, like that's something veterans like struggle a lot once they come back to like normal reality, and that's something I will have to learn to deal with as well after the war, if I survive. And then we can like, then I'll have to deal with that. So there's a lot of open questions, unfortunately, which are all work in progress, TBD.
Which what I wanted to like address, or what I wanted to put first now in my reply to that, it is that he just said like, if I survive. And I asked you to just for 1 second, if I ask myself, that's just such a different state of mind you're in. Like, you know, people here, they have like their dreams and their plans and their ongoing like agendas and so on. And people at the front line, they just care about like, yeah, maybe if I survive, then I will have to deal with my like mental issues, which I like almost sure will have after coming back. And in this moment, I also wanted to express my gratitude and to say thank you again, because like just for the background for you people, we just meet for like 2 hours today. We didn't plan to have an interview. We just planned to meet up like because we know each other as friends for quite a while. And but we were thinking like, what can we actually do in this situation? And I asked Husky like, how can I help? Because I'm also like, I'm just one person, and one single person can of course do what is in his or her hands. But if we team up, and if everyone gives his or her share in helping people in need, for example in this situation, then it's like very more likely that we will find the necessary resources, like time and energy wise, to really make a difference, because it just needs a lot of people to sustain all of this ongoing help and support for the people. And as we just heard, like Husky can barely have communication with family and loved ones. And so at least like we in our safe homes here can give it 1 or 2 seconds of thought, or maybe a donation, to make life easier for the people who are actually not fighting so much for themselves, I guess, because mostly it's like for either it's for the cause or it's for the people you love. Or maybe you can share with us like what it is, what actually really led you to say like, okay, I want to like engage in all of this, like what it is you are fighting for. What is your very personal experience in this?
Well, I came to humanitarian aid just because I felt like this desperation, like the things I saw like in the country and at the border, and the beginning through the news just really hurt me to see. At the same time, I thought I'm close enough to be able to get there and help. So I started driving to the border, evacuating people from there. Then I felt, okay, that's the situation at the border is stable. Like there's still a lot of suffering in the country.
Yeah.
I started working in the country. And then later on, when the humanitarian situation, at least where we have been working, kind of got a bit better, I thought, okay, I should go further. So it was basically just empathy. Like I don't like when people suffer, and when I feel I can do something about it, I would like to do so. Yeah, and it kind of helps me as well in the long run. Like easing their suffering helps to ease mine, because then they feel less suffering, and
Yeah.
I feel them feeling less of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think um like there was a nice analogy someone told me. It was like, because I think there will be some viewers here who are against any warfare, and I very much feel that. I think we both are against any warfare as well. No one actually likes to be in the situation to deal with such horrible things. But if there is someone in your garden pointing a gun at you, then you can just decide to either defend yourself or to leave your house and run away. And each and everyone has to decide on his or her own what he or she would do in such a case. But I guess that one of the possible answers to that is, of course, like, yeah, I would fight him, or fight the one who's holding the gun pointing to me. And this takes some courage, I think. And if we go back in human history, there have always been fights. And if we really want to like change something in this, we have to start earlier, at a complete different level, than to reject someone already defending himself or herself the necessary means to do so. So we could do emotional intelligence teaching or things like that, so that you don't even get the idea that you want to take someone or something from someone which doesn't belong to you, or that you deal with conflicts differently than violently. But I think that's we are far away from having a society which is structured like that. So thank you for sharing your challenges and the coping, how you cope with the psychological pressure. And maybe you can tell us something about like really like the current situation, like about morale, about support, about the needs you would things you would like really need, and how that's a question, something I ask myself of how visible is like Western aid military like on the front lines? Is there any? And
Mhm.
yeah,
So your last question, Western military aid, I don't really see it, but then again, it also depends on the
yeah,
brigade. Other brigades might have different experiences. My experience is that we don't see it at all.
yeah.
So we technically don't really receive it. Nothing that I would know of.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, of course, the brigade is also big. Maybe there's something somewhere. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows? But at least it's not like visible or present enough for me to really be visible.
Yeah.
Morale is quite bad. Everybody's extremely tired, extremely exhausted. Everybody has such a burnout that we're barely able to do
So that
keep
also
going.
changed, like, yeah, a bit at least from what you hear in the media. It always said like the morale is so good amongst Ukrainians, but the war is now ongoing for quite a
Yeah,
while. Yeah.
for quite a while, and everybody is just extremely tired. So morale is really not good. There's support is missing everywhere.
Yeah.
What's most required, at least in my field of work right now, is different medical supplies, like different medications or tactical medicine material, and spare parts or money for car repairs, which is our like biggest problem money
Yeah.
wise. That the cars constantly get broken given the work that we have, and the repairs are very costly, just as much as the spare parts. Given that the cars we already received, like were kind
Yeah.
of like not in a
Devastated.
perfect not in a perfect working condition, and they're definitely not made to be military vehicles.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work, but like we still have to make it work, and that's why they break down all the time. So that's kind of the need, which the biggest ones which we have.
So just for you to know, as I said in the beginning, like we will put a donation link here, and if you might consider like donating to this cause, like for example medical aid, or for example like the transportation of injured people, by having functioning and working car, then I please ask you to engage with us, because that would be a big support for Husky, I think. And maybe you can share a bit about your personal perspective, like how has your perspective of life like changed since joining the fight, and what are your future hopes on the situation, like how on the outcome?
I guess my perspective on life changed in a way that I realize how fast it can all be over.
Yeah.
How like in a like I guess maybe it sounds cheesy, but yeah, to try to cherish every moment you have with everyone, because like he might literally be just gone in 2 hours, maybe in 1 hour, and then it's just as if this person still there, but at the same time he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard for the mind to cope with that,
Mm.
and you always just keep thinking he's probably going to show up in a while, or you see him like somewhere on the street or something, then you look closer and then like no, it's you're just imagining things.
Mm.
So I guess to cherish like intersocial connections and realize the futility of them and how fast they can just pass away out of nowhere. To once again, as we talked before, to really prioritize problems. Like, don't let all problems stress you out. Like, be very picky about which problems are going to stress you out,
Mm.
because there's a lot of very, very shitty problems out there
Yeah.
in the war zone,
Yeah.
which put everything into a different light. Um, and in general, yeah, that once again, peace is the most important thing we could ever dream of and could ever have, because without peace we literally have nothing. Like war is
Right.
just the worst thing that humanity, I mean, humanity didn't invent it, it obviously exists in nature as well, but it's obviously the worst thing that exists on this
Yeah.
planet, in whatever shape or form, or whichever species is doing it.
Yeah.
Of course, like the animal kingdoms also have their own wars, but yeah, it's just the worst thing we can come up with, so we should always do everything in our power to prevent that.
Yeah. Do you already have any like post-war plans? Like, what is the first thing you're going to do like after all this shit comes to an end?
I mean, right now I'm writing a book about everything, like the experiences there at war, which I would plan to publish. At the same time, I would like to start doing a PhD about PTSD research in Ukrainian soldiers, so I can provide my own input there,
Yeah.
given that I also suffer from PTSD at this point, for sure. Might help me as well. So I'm trying to find ways to channel those experiences I made
Yeah.
into like something productive, which could help further people along the way.
Yeah. Sounds like a really, really good plan to me. If you want, you can already like if there's a title, for example, for the book, or if you want to tell people where they could look out for the book, where would that be? You know already how, when, or what title it is, or
It's all TBD.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing I could share.
Yeah. Okay.
now.
And do you have a message? Like, is there anything for like the Germans or people in the internet which you want them to know or understand about the situation? Like, what is like important for you to share about that?
I guess, well, as has been said before by you, like it's still going on. It might be
Yeah.
invisible, but that doesn't mean that it does not exist. There's object permanence. Like babies. Like if you hide your face behind your hands, they're like, "Oh, he's gone." But like, of course, we're like past that point.
Yeah.
Like politically, like we have object permanence. It's still happening. Just because we cannot see it doesn't mean anything. And I would also like them to know that it's much worse than you could ever possibly imagine. Like if anyone has read Remark,
Oh yeah, I'm
All
a big
Quiet on
fan.
the All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like that sums up the vibe very well. Just
Yeah.
with drones and like high precision ammunitions and other godforsaken new inventions.
Yeah.
But that brings off the vibe, like because the news create a very sterile view
Picture
of
of that, yeah.
Yeah, or
I
just
see
very,
that they're always like they're always showing like, oh yeah, here's this like drone again, like flying into this or flying into that, and then they're stopping as soon as the drone like hit the vehicle, yeah. And then they don't show the people who got like ripped legs, ripped hands, I don't know, have been hit by a shrapnel and stuff like that, which would make it like a more human experience, yeah. So they just show the super nice, as you just said, like ammunition or drones or things like that. But then they stop their whole like news stories, and that's it. Yeah, and then they just like show the front lines again and how they advance or how they do not advance, but that's it. Yeah, you're not really in touch with the impacts which are made on a daily basis to the humans who are actually located at the front line, which suffer unbearably every day. And yeah, maybe we could, or maybe we today made that a little bit more visible by telling your story. Lastly, I'd like, because that's our aim of the video, I would like to know, like, what forms of support from civilians, if there are any, have been most meaningful to you, like either for you, in the material sphere, yeah, or in means of morale, and how can organizations or civilians best support Ukrainian soldiers and their families? Like, I don't mean only by money. Obviously, it's about money and material, but maybe there are even other means. For example, share the stories of the people, share the stories of the people suffering, because like we all have like one power, it's our willpower, and we can engage in things, we can speak up, we can use our voice, we have like social media, we have like the possibility through the internet to make our claims visible everywhere on the world. And if we all decide that there is something which we don't want to let happen ever again, or from this point on, then no one can stop us. We just have to decide all together, and not like being subject to some sort of weird agendas from governments, or from, I don't know, like monetary interests of some kind of associations or something. So yeah, like how can we help you? Like, what do you have any ideas? What support of what support, like, can civilians in Germany give to you, which like aid in your situation in any?
Regarding your first question, which had like the biggest impact or the biggest boost on morale, like which kind of helped, obviously that was usually money,
Yeah.
like some kind of donations which helped us to organize certain things which we needed, like either money or just getting us the material which we need, which obviously is kind of harder to do from Germany. But usually that had the biggest impact, simply because we in the army have to pay for everything out of our own wages, like for equipment, for the maintenance of cars and stuff. A lot of people have
paying for it for your own pocket. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
people believe that the military is paying for anything. It's not like that. Yeah,
a lot of people think that, and it's not the case at all. You pay for literally everything. The only thing you get is your gun. Everything else you pay, well, you might get an old plate carrier, but usually it's just better if you just buy everything yourself, like from the equipment. Everything apart from that, you're on your own.
And like, can you share? I don't know if that's subject to disclosure or not, but can you share what is a salary of a soldier in Ukraine? Like, how much is it a month?
I mean, it also depends on like the base pay is $500 per month, and then you get combat pay depending how much time you spend at the front line, which could be up to $2,000 if you spend every day of the month at the front line, which would probably mean you wouldn't survive.
So just imagine for yourself for 1 second, $2,000 for giving your life every day. I think that's insane, man. That's completely insane. Like, we should definitely, all of us should think about like what is our like to shift our values. Just like think of how much you get paid, or people you know might get paid for something, and they're not like risking their lives every day.
Yeah, so that's a bit fucked, yeah.
But I know it's whataboutism in the end, like, you know, like that, it's like this and it's like that, but actually that's something we have to talk about, yeah. We have to talk about that. There's like a situation, like if we take Germany, it's 1,500 kilometers to the east. A life is worth $2,000 a month. That's your life's worth.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. And we say, like, we have Article 1 of like our human rights, or like of the German like constitution, which says like die menschliche Würde ist unantastbar, which means like in essence like it's without any cost. But that doesn't seem to hold true so much if I consider what you just said. I'm just a little bit upset of all of this, because like, you know, my professional background as a lawyer, and we so much talk about the rules and blah and stuff and things, but if it then comes to like really like getting these rules into effect, we really lack so much. like I don't know, like credibility. You know what I mean? Like we're just talking about all of this shit all of the day, and then I don't know. We managed to not give the sufficient equipment, or like as our former chancellor did, like we will not send Taurus because that might be an act of I don't know, like not even aggression, but an act of like I don't know, like it might upset Russia. I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to supporting, besides financial means, yeah, obviously like sharing stories, still
Yeah.
trying to enhance the range through social media to let people remember that it's not over yet,
Yeah.
or like, well, helping yourself obviously through like humanitarian initiatives by reaching out to NGOs and asking how you could help. There's so many ways to help, which wouldn't involve money.
Okay, then like I think that just efficient for the first thing, as you heard Husky just say, like our video, share it to people, and lastly, please donate money. Have a nice day. It was such a pleasure, man, to have you here.
Pleasure's all mine.
I hope we will do that in the future, but just like not with a war in the background, but with our business ideas from before the war. You know, we wanted to start like we wanted to do like educational events, and like he was actually working as a game developer, and there was so much stuff going on, and no one ever thought about situation evolving like this in until 2025. So I'm just like going with the hope for a good outcome for all of this. Like at least like how I don't know if you can really still say good outcome, because already so many people died. But at least for like you personally and for our friendship and relationship, yes, it was a pleasure to have you, man.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine.
Thank you.